also write in to us via WhatsApp number and share your queries for us to us. But let's get on board our first viewer query, and this one is coming from Harsh. And he's saying he's holding 10 shares of Gujarat Fluorochemicals, which he's purchased at 2,300 rupees per share. He's asking what are the crucial levels to watch out for. The time horizon is 3 months. So Kunal, definitely this question is for you. Gujarat Fluorochemicals, 2,300 is the buy price for Harsh. What are the key levels that he should watch out for?
Already trading, I think, if I'm not wrong, just about at the verge of a previous, rather a breakout for itself. I'm sensing it's a fresh high for Gujarat Fluoro. If not, then it's just about maybe a couple of percentage points away from breaking past about that. Now, the stock has this tendency and habit of getting into a corrective mode and then rallying up, breaking past about the previous highs, consolidate over there for at least a couple of weeks, and then try and move up higher yet again. So I think in terms of levels, the stock seems to already have broken past about the previous resistance for itself. But I would suggest that if you can probably have a staggered approach of buying the stock if it comes back closer to its support levels, that could actually be a good strategy for a stock like Gujarat Fluoro, because it tends to give you those opportunities in between. So the 50-day moving average seems to be a good point of support for Gujarat Fluoro, and I think if the stock happens to come back to those levels, which currently is at 2200 levels, I think that should be a good averaging opportunity for the stock.
Okay. Just a quick reminder, gentlemen, keep your answers as short as possible because my WhatsApp is absolutely flooded at this juncture, and I'm sure Cheryl is experiencing the same on YouTube. Basab Datta Sarkar is asking about Vardhman Textiles. This one's for you, Kunal. 65 shares bought at 2,280 rupees per share on the 16th of December. Should he book profits at this juncture or should he hold on?
Hold on. Possibly then, if possible, then keep a trading stop loss closer to 2475 on Vardhman Textile. It's just that the volumes have expanded in the last 1 month of this price rally, and which means that there is a fresh participation into the stock at current levels. So just purely based on the volume patterns, I would sense that there should be more upside for Vardhman Textile. I would suggest keep a trading stop loss mechanism. 2475 could be an initial trading stop loss for Vardhman Textile.
All right, this one is coming from Soumitra Joshi, and this one is for you, Rajesh. He's saying Ami Organics, Tattva Chintan or Rosari Biotech. Out of these three chemical companies, which should he go ahead and invest in, and also why?
Given a good run up in the recent past, and all of them are almost new listings, I would say. But out of all these three, if somebody has to take a call, I think the number one would be Ami Organics, second one would be Tattva Chintan. Both of them have strong fundamentals. They are into chemical sectors. The China Plus factor is helping them. And going forward, I think the numbers are going to be good. So you can take a call, but the number one pick would be Ami Organics.
If you have a view on this, Kunal, the name of the counter is SP Apparels. It is currently trading at 448.5 and it's up as much as 6.4% today from what I can see on the charts. It seems to have moved very quickly to this point, and we've got Mr. Parsi from Bangalore who's asking whether this is a good entry point for the stock.
A good approach could actually help out into this name. SP Apparels done exceptionally well when you look at it from the March 2020 lows where the stock was, I think, at 74, 75 levels. From there, it's done exceptionally well for itself. And such are the kind of names which tend to give you very less periods of correction. So whatever periods of correction you can get into these kind of names, if you can try and average it out and then look to increase your holdings, that would be a better strategy. So you can start buying at current levels. But I believe a 10% correction from its previous swing highs should be a good opportunity for you to average.
Mr. K.R. Balan, and he wants to know, should I switch 200 shares of D-Link shares, which he purchased at 150 rupees per share, to Poonawalla Finance or Varroc Engineering? A tricky question, Kunal. What should Mr. Balan do with his holding? 200 shares of D-Link, which he had purchased at 150, wants to know, shift to Poonawalla Finance or Varroc Engineering?
It has done pretty well for itself. It's on the verge of a fresh multi-year breakout. I think it's at 2015-16 kind of a breakout level for itself. Now, I'm not sure of the urgency of the viewer to try and shift from this stock to other names, but all three of the charts, like you mentioned, the names which you mentioned, I think have been doing exceptionally well. Poonawalla Finance, FinCorp, I think has done pretty well over the last 1 month, recovered from 185 or 188, which was the low the stock had made, now towards 230 plus levels. And so is the case with the other name as well, which the viewer had mentioned. So I would suggest that if you can probably hold on to dealing for maybe another 6 months or so, there could be a potential upside of at least another 15 to 20% further from current levels, and that could probably take the stock to 200 to 220 kind of a range. I would suggest to hold on to dealing at current levels rather than a switch.
Okay, we've got a question coming in from Priyanka. This one's for you, Rajesh. She's holding on to 200 shares of Sumitomo Chemicals, which she says she's bought at sub 300 levels. And if I look at when she has done this, she's likely done it quite a while back. Because I think the last time it was trading at this level was in May of last year at least, or April of last year. Should she buy more at the current level? I'm guessing she's looking for a fundamental view.
See, of course, it's a very good buy. The company has got strong fundamentals. It's a good, strong agrochemical play. Numbers have been good. And the best part is it has corrected quite a lot from its recent highs. So I think the valuations are justified. And if you're a long-term player, definitely it's a good buy.
All right, this one is coming from Manoj Kumar. He wants entry levels for Dixon Tech and Aarti Industries for the next 5 to 7 years. Kunal, either Dixon Tech or Aarti Industries, would you be able to help Manoj with the levels that he can look to enter for the longer term?
See, I think Dixon Tech has come back towards support points, 50-day moving average, just about trading closer to those support levels. So you can look to start entering at current zone, and assuming if the stock gets into a further corrective mode, then maybe a 5,000 or a 4,850 would actually be the second good level to try and chip into this name. Aarti Industries, we had discussed this stock I think a few weeks back as well, where the stock had come back towards its 200-day moving average. That was around 900 mark or sub 900 levels. That should be a good entry point for Aarti Industries. So rather than buying at current levels, I would suggest to wait for levels of at least 900 odd for Aarti Industries to try and chip in for a longer term perspective.
Okay. Rajesh, this one's for you from the aviation space. We've got Mr. Henal Pandya, who's holding on to 1,500 shares of SpiceJet, which he acquired at a price of 83 rupees per share. He's wondering whether to hold out or whether to sell at this point.
Numbers are pretty bad. The balance sheet position is bad. Day before yesterday, there was some news that the company is not going. The auditors has pointed out whether the company will be taken as a going concern because of the poor numbers in the balance sheet. And secondly, we should not forget the kind of restriction on travel. The numbers are again going to be bad. So it's no point holding to their stock. Rather, any upside should be taken an opportunity to exit. Maybe Indigo would be a better choice if one wants to be in aviation sector. But still, I would say stay away from both the aviation stock. If one wants to be in a hospitality sector, Indian Hotels would be a better choice.
All right, this one is from Shailaja and this one is for you, Kunal. Wants to know, can she buy Jubilant Foods in Tata Consumers at current market price for the short term?
I think Jubilant Food could be an interesting buy. Short term wise, the stock is heading towards a breakout. I would suggest that if you can wait for the stock to break past above yesterday's high, which is 36.75, that could be a better level and better trigger for you to buy. Because beyond that, I would believe that the stock can restart an uptrend, which could take the stock to at least 4,000, 4,100 as well. And for Tata Consumers, I would believe very, very similar, that let the stock break past above today's high, which is around 749 odd or so, 755. So if the stock manages to break past above 755, that should be a trigger for you to buy. Targets to be kept at 780, and stop loss you can keep it from those entry points at 735.
Okay. Coming back to you, Kunal, on this next one, we've got a question coming in from Puneet on India Glycol, which he acquired at 936 rupees. he is looking for a very short-term view. He's looking for a 1-week view, and he's wondering whether his target prediction of 1035 is something that you also think will be accomplished.
My sense is what the viewer is probably looking out for is a formation of a bullish flag pattern. Now, the stock, which I think on a single day jumped up from 770 to 925, post had a 4 days of consolidation where the stock has remained into a tight band or a tight range. So my assumption is that the viewer is expecting that the breakout would happen pretty soon for India Glyco. That could probably take maybe a week or two more, I would sense, as the stock is trying to graduate to a new range. But yes, post that breakout, you can expect at least another 150 to 200 points uptick on the stock. So I would be of the view that maybe time horizon is something which you can stretch, but targets you can keep it about those 1,000 levels.
This one is from Abhijit, and this one is for you, Kunal, though he's saying that he's a long-term investor, but he's directed this question for you. He's saying that he has 150 shares of Amara Raja battery, which he's purchased at 700 rupees per share. He's saying, what's your outlook on the stock? Should he hold or exit? And like I mentioned, he's a long-term investor.
Interesting, because stocks like Amara Raja batteries, Exide, even though they've looked very lucrative as compared to their longer term price potentials, but they've not been able to restart a long term uptrend. Now, Amara Raja battery had a fantastic uptrend start from 2020 towards end of 2020 or mid of 2020, where the stock rallied from I think 450 levels to at one point just about nudging distance of 1,000 odd mark for itself. But somehow the stock has been unable to catch on to that momentum, and now fizzled. The momentum seems to have fizzled quite strongly for Amara Raja battery. So I would suggest to wait and watch, not be in a hurry. If you're looking to buy Auto Ank name specifically, not just restricting towards battery space, but Auto Ank, then I think you can look at something like Bosch or even Motherson Sumi at current levels, because both of these stocks, they look far more attractive. Amara Raja battery, I would wait and watch. Let the stock break past about 750. That could trigger a strong uptrend for the stock.
We've got a question coming in from Professor Thomas George from Cochin, and he's asking, Rajesh, between KPIT Tech and Birla Soft, which one would you pick?
Birla Soft. The numbers have been pretty good. They are moving into BFSI, and that's a big business. I think out of these two, Birla Soft would be a better choice.
All right, this question is for you, Rajesh, and this is from Purna. She wants to know whether she can buy 1,000 shares of JP Power Ventures for the longer term. Does it even make sense to look at this particular counter, Rajesh?
In these kind of market, I would say strictly avoid penny stocks. They may move up like anything, but the fundamentals are pretty bad. You will never know what will happen. So it's better to avoid these kind of penny stocks.
Okay, I'm just trying to get a sense from Bharat whether he's looking at CCL products for the long term. Yes, he is in fact looking at CCL products for the long term. Rajesh, he's wondering whether these are the right levels to invest, and what can he view in terms of the fundamentals of the stock. What advice can you give him?
Fundamentals are very strong for both these companies, Tata Coffee or CCL. Coffee prices are on fire. Arabica prices are going up like anything due to shortage worldwide. I think these companies are going to do well in near future. Yes, one can buy any of these two stocks.
Stocks and coffee prices are on fire, Rajesh. That's why I've decided to give up both the beverages, be it tea or coffee, in this year. Let's move on and let's take this query from Chaitanya. And this is for you, Rajesh. He's asking Hitachi Energy, Grindwell Norton, or Carbo Universal. I think it is Carborundum if I'm not mistaken. He's asking which of these counters are the best one for the longer term, and if none of these counters fit into the long term portfolio target, then which stock should he look at?
See, all these companies are having strong fundamentals. They have reported good numbers in the recent past and going forward also. Things are going to be good, although they are not a trading category because the volumes are low. But out of these three, if somebody has to choose, I would go with Carborundum Universal. The group is very strong. The numbers have been good, and it has been a consistent performer. I think out of these, the carborundum fits the bill.
Okay. Kunal, couple of stocks for you to look at. Jamna Auto, we've got Sudha who's holding. I'm just looking at the share price. She's holding at levels of 113. So she's making a bit of a loss. She's wondering whether to sell out and buy Vedanta for the short term for the next 6 months.
It may not be a good switch shifting off from Jamna Auto to something like Vedanta, because Vedanta is very erratic in terms of the price action. It's extremely volatile. Jamna Auto on one hand is more consistent. So even though the stock is getting into a downward trend, which I believe could probably last for maybe another couple of weeks for Jamna Auto, but the long-term structure is very, very strong. So you may probably have to go through some bit of short-term correction in the stock, but I think on a longer-term basis, it's a very strong stock in terms of price trend. I would suggest, if possible, you should hold on to Jamna Auto rather than making that switch.
All right, this is okay. Time for our rapid fire segment, and this one is coming in from Krishna, and he's saying that he has 100 shares of Cadila Health, which he's purchased at 590 rupees per share a year ago. He wants to know whether should he average, hold, or switch, and if switch, should he go to Laurus Labs? What's your take, Rajesh, on this one?
See, one should hold Cadila, and if some new funds are to be allotted, Laurus Labs seems to be a better bet. Because one, it has corrected a lot, the numbers have been good, and it's a good expansion story. So Laurus can be bought.
Okay, quick view on RBL Bank. We've got Krishna who's holding on, Rajesh, at levels of 145, and he's wondering whether to book out losses at this juncture.
There have been a whole lot of stories with RBI chipping in and the deposit numbers going down and all these things. But still, I think the kind of valuation it has come to, one should hold on and take any upside should be taken as an opportunity to exit maybe after this quarter numbers.
All right, Nino wants to know, how does Tirumala Chemicals look for the short to medium term? Kunal, do you think that makes sense to be invested? And if you are invested, makes sense to stay put?
Makes sense to stay put. I think that stock is at 241. You can keep a potential target range around 265 from the next 2 to 3 weeks perspective, and stop loss for this, you can keep it at 230.
I almost feel bad for asking this, Rajesh, and I think I know what your answer is going to be. Vinati Organics bought 10 years back at levels of 56 rupees. The stock is currently at 2034. Sunil from Muscat wants to know whether he should book out right now.
Any requirement of funds, stay put with the stock. The numbers have been good. Why unnecessary step?
Okay, Natarajan Ramesh has 75 shares of USL, which he's purchased at 974 rupees per share. He wants a fundamental and technical view, but due to paucity of time, Kunal, I'll come to you. How does the counter look like? Do you think Natarajan should stay put with this particular counter?
Definitely stay put. Would look out for targets in the range of 1200 to 1250 for USL over the next 12 to 18 months.
Amrita is asking which penny stock should she buy. Well, most of the experts on this program, actually all of the experts, will tell you not to buy any of those penny stocks. But we've completely run out of time on this particular leg of the query segment. Gentlemen, thank you so much as always for taking the time. Kunal as well as Rajesh, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Viewers that missed out on getting their queries answered today, unfortunately we ran out of time, but we'll be back tomorrow to take a lot more of your queries, so do stay tuned. We're slipping into a short break, more on the other side, so do stay tuned.